We're back here on CBS Sports HQ, gearing up for a full slate of WNBA Commissioner's Cup games going on today. It all begins in that 3 o'clock hour. The Sun taking on the Liberty in New York. No surprise, heavy favorites there. The Liberty are at 18.5 as they are undefeated, 6-0 on the season so far. The day continues in that 6 o'clock hour. We'll see the Mercury at Sparks, the Aces at Storm, followed by our nightcap, the Lynx taking out the Valkyries at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Tip-off for the Lynx favorites at 12. There for more of the best bets in the WNBA for the Commissioner's Cup games. Let's go ahead and say hello to our own Calvin Wetzel for more. Calvin, great to see you. Let's go ahead and start with the best bet for the Sun Liberty game.
We're going with New York race to 25 in the first quarter. This is at plus 114. You're getting plus money on this because it's not just the first team to 25, it's the first team to 25 in the first quarter, which means if no one gets to 25 in the first quarter, you lose. But one of the hallmarks of this era of Liberty basketball in their championship era is fast starts. Last year, they got to 25 in over half of their first quarters, have already done it 4 of 6 times this year, and now they get basically the easiest matchup you can possibly get in the league with a home game against probably the worst team in the league in the Connecticut Sun. You never know what will happen in the second half with the blowout and maybe some of the subs coming in. So the best way to play the Liberty in this one is for them to, again, get off to a fast start, especially on offense, and get to 25 first in that first quarter. All
right, let's go ahead and look elsewhere. The Phoenix Mercury taking on the Los Angeles Sparks here. The Sparks favored entering tip-off at 5 right now. The total set at 164. What are you eyeing come tip-off?
I'm taking the under on that 164. This Mercury team has really impressed me a lot this year. They came in to the year with the big 3 of Satu Sabally, Alyssa Thomas, and Kalia Copper. Copper's been hurt all year. Alyssa Thomas is now out for the 2nd straight game. So it's really just Satu Sabally tonight and basically a bunch of role players. But these role players have been very impressive this year, particularly on the defensive end. They may not be household names or superstars, but they've been playing connected. They've been playing with energy. They've been flying around on defense, executing the game plan, and I really like their defense to show up again tonight against this LA team. The other part of it is that because the Mercury have some injuries, they've been playing a little bit slower pace recently with some of those depth issues, trying to slow the game down. So I think we see a little bit of a slower, more defensive game again, as we have for the last few Mercury games. I love the under in the mid-160s.
All right, looking now at the Las Vegas Aces taking on the Seattle Storm a little bit later on today. The Aces are favored by 3. What are you eyeing come tip-off?
I like the Storm getting 3 there at home. I think the books continue to be very high, too high on the Aces, giving them a lot of credit for who they have been. Won back-to-back championships a couple years ago. Still have a lot of that core left, but outside of Asia Wilson, this does not feel like that same team that won those back-to-back titles. They've had some depth issues. They've had some defensive issues. Jewel Lloyd is not at all looking like her prime self anymore, and they made that trade to bring her in over the offseason. They went into Seattle just last week and lost by 20. Now, I don't know if the Storm are going to win this game by 20 again, but the fact that we're getting them as underdogs with a full possession, I think, again, is great value. The Aces are at best maybe a point and a half better than the Storm. And then when you factor in home court, this really should be more like a pick 'em. So if you're giving me 3 points on the home team here, I'm going to take them.
Yeah, great point. And also the Seattle Storm did win the first matchup between these two teams this season. Lastly here, let's go ahead and check in with the Lynx and Valkyries. Lynx heavy favorites at 12 here as we inch closer and closer to tip off on this nightcap. The over-under sitting at 157.5. What are you liking?
This has potential to turn into a little bit of an ugly game, so I am going to take another under here in this one in the upper 150s. This is the 3rd time this week that I've talked about a Lynx under. I lost one of them with 12 points in the last 27 seconds, won the one earlier this week, so now we're looking to go 2 of 3 on these. I love this defense. It's also the 2nd slowest paced team in the league. Nafisa Collier is again questionable tonight. She missed last game when they went under. She's the league's leading scorer, so with her out of the lineup, you're losing a lot of points there on the Lynx side. On the Valkyries side, it's the worst offense in the league by far. The defense has actually looked surprisingly competent for an expansion team that really had to pieced together their roster, obviously, through that expansion draft, brought in a lot of defense-first players, Veronica Burton, Kayla Thornton, Timmy Fagbenle. Those are all defense-first players who are getting significant minutes for this team. So their defense hasn't been terrible by expansion team standards. Their offense has, and on the Lynx side, like I said, their defense, even without Nafisa Collier, it should be able to lock up this team. So I think this line is too high, finishes more like the mid-150s.
All right, sounds good to me. We'll wait and see how it all plays out. Kevin Winsell joining us here on CBS Sports HQ for some of the best bets in the WNBA. Here's a look at Calvin's picks for today's slate of games.